Hi friends and fellow woodturners, Richard Ford here, coming to you from Nova Scotia, Canada. I've just finished updating the audio on an old video of mine that I had posted on YouTube, a video from 2011
on making Christmas angels.
Now, it's interesting when you look at things you used to do and you wouldn't remember unless they were on a video, but one of the things that stood out to me was the skew chisel I was using at the time. And today, that same skew chisel I grind completely different to what it was in the video. You can see that the curve is this way and this way, and also this way. So this isn't ground in the conventional way at all, and it works far better for me, really well, much less catchy and much more controllable. And I guess there's a video in the future I'm going to have to make that explains more about this. But even beyond that skew chisel, a very new tool to me is this one that I'm calling a brush gouge. I'm calling it a brush gouge because I've been using it making brush handles for shaving brushes, and it's working very, very well. And I use this where I would have used a skew chisel. Now, I have made a video on how I use this tool and how it's ground, and that will be in the future when I get around through all the old ones, because I'm keeping them in order. I will post a video of this gouge. So you see things that you did that you no longer do when you look at old videos. I still make the Christmas angels now and then, and they are different than they were then, or they've some variations. Here's one that has a little baby angel attached to it. Same hollow inside, but this was for someone who was just had their first child, and so it was a Christmas angel of a mother and child. Another variation was one that actually I made for my wife, and this is her and the 4 grandchildren. So it's just your imagination. It's the same thing, it's hollowed out. I didn't put a string on this one to attach it because it just sits on the shelf, but it's another form of Christmas angel. Recently I made some Christmas angels that my granddaughter, or my daughter, presented to some nurses in the children's hospital who had been taking care of my granddaughter. And I tried to make a Christmas angel that's representative of a nurse, with a little nurse's hat as I saw it, and I changed the wings and the halo. So just your imagination. Anyway, I want to repost this video, so I just made a new introduction to it and mentioned a few things that I noticed. So I hope you enjoy the video. We'll get on now. I'll stop talking and let you watch in peace. Of course, remember, you can always fast forward through things you don't want to see. Okay, I'll shut up. Here it is. Here's the video on Christmas angels.
Safety. It's a big thing in the workshop. If you don't feel safe doing something, or you just don't feel comfortable, don't do it. You're the only person who can keep you safe. And if you don't do it, no one else can. Well, welcome to the shop. Today, I'm going to try and take this piece of firewood, piece of maple from the firewood pile. I just cut it to shape with an axe. Yeah, the advantage there is that when you cut through with the axe, you follow the grain, so This way the grain should be running fairly true in the piece. I just mount it between centers here. I'll true up one end here to go in the chuck. Always give it a spin just to make sure you're clearing everywhere. Okay. Put the face shield on and roughing gouge. Oh, about 1,000 would be about right. A little more speed. About 2,000. Still got some lumps here. Or some flats, should say. But it's good enough to put in the chuck. We'll clean it a little bit more. You saw it was slipping. Well, the reason is this little drive center that I was using. I just ground some grooves in one that didn't have any teeth. I can't think of who it was now, but one of the famous turners had suggested this. Well, it's useful when you're learning to turn, and if you get a little bit of a catch, then it will slip. Bring the center in. I probably over-tightened my chuck a little bit. I come from a metalworking background. Yeah, I think that influences how tight I tighten the chuck. But mainly, I don't like the chuck key digging in my hand. That's why I use a tube. Yeah, there we are. We're round now. We'll just square up the end. Just cleaning across the end with a small skew. Yeah, very nice. Now we'll hollow out the inside. So we'll make a start and hollow out the bottom like this. Small bowl gouge, 3/8 bowl gouge. First you have to have a little shoulder, so you can come back this way and give yourself a shoulder to rest the bevel on to start the cut. The only tricky point is when you get to the point in the middle, sometimes you get a little jiggle there. Well, we have a nice hollow inside now. We'll just mark that. That's where the bottom is inside. Just quick check. Yeah. So now, I think we'll use the little do-all. I made this one day. I fiddle around all day, and it's just a piece of high-speed steel, silver soldered into a piece of bar stock, little handle on the end. It's shaped a little like a skew, like a small skew. I've been fiddling around all day, and my wife came out to the shop and said, "What did you do today?" I said, "Well, I made this." And she said, "That's all?" So I've named it my That's All tool. And that's all there is to it. Look at that. Great skew practice this. When the skew's working right, it's a beautiful tool. But when it catches, you could throw it out the door. It's kind of like making an egg cup, isn't it? Yeah, that's about right. So you can see we've done the skirt part. Now we'll do little arms and wings. That's all again. It's great for cutting V's. The top edge is sharp and flat, so there's a nice cutting edge each side. Rough out the head here. The head is perhaps the trickiest part of this turning. Don't have to worry about the very top, because we're going to cut that off and flatten it on a little bit of an angle, and we'll glue the halo on the top. Now just try this. I have to be comfortable. Yeah, I think this is the way to do it. That's with the point down. I think we're pretty good with the head there. When we sand it, it'll be perfect. So we've done that much now. We'll sand that up. I'm going to use some automotive wet and dry. We'll start with 240. Going to need some water. A little water here in the, well, there's the 240. There's some 600 and 400. We'll start with the 240, slow it down a touch. I find with wet sanding I can sand a little faster speed than dry sanding. It makes like a slurry, the water and the sawdust. This is something I do with a popsicle stick. When I need to get somewhere where I can't get my fingers, I just wrap the wet dry around it and I support the sandpaper with the popsicle stick. See, it works pretty good on all the surfaces. And when I'm getting in a particularly tight spot, I'll even sand the popsicle stick thinner or to a point on the end. That's the 240. Now we'll go to 400. We'll wrap it on the popsicle stick anyway. Then 600. Now we'll do the superfine sanding. Here it is, piece of paper towel. Turn the speed up a little bit. My father used to say, never put your fingers where you wouldn't put your nose. I think that was a bit of good advice. You have to be careful when you're putting your fingers into spinning holes like this. It's just a piece of paper towel, but it changes color as it gets dry. You have to keep it moving. You can't keep it in the same place. If you do, it'll burn. And you'll have to end up sanding again to get the burnt wood off. This is another time when the little popsicle stick works well, getting in these little sharp recesses. I don't know what grit paper towel is, but it's pretty fine. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And we'll just whip that off. My little that's all will do it quite nicely. Now you can see the inside. So we've got that much finished. Now, what I'll do off camera, I'll choose the grain for the face where it's like an oval, and that will be the front, and I'll cut this off flat to produce this shape here, which is like the wings around the back of the angel. And I'll sand this on the belt sander on a little bit of a jaunty angle. We have to make the halo though. The halo is just a little bit smaller than the base of the skirt. Little kind of guide I use. We need to take that down a little bit smaller. So we'll just do that. Well, there's a guide. It just went inside. I never noticed that before. I think that will look just about right. Yeah. So we'll peel down here with the little that's all. Now, what I do is usually burn a line around the halo. So we need a little V to guide the wire. Just put that little V in the center. So here's my burning wire. It's just made from a fishing leader, and the plastic's been removed. So I think that's a braided stainless steel. You need to fix one end, like my left hand is fixed on the tool rest, and just wrap, keeping the wire stretched, wrap it around, and then just unwind it. So now we need to sand this, make it look nice. There's my 3 grits. 400, 600, and this must be the 240. And here I'm going to need my little stick, a little popsicle stick. Now we'll do the 400. And now the 600. Now in some cases I've used the little popsicle stick to get into some very small areas, and I'll sand down the popsicle stick so it's very thin on the end, and that works good too. Now we're back to the superfine grit, and we need the little popsicle stick for that too, but to speed up a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Now I'm going to use my little fine parting tool. Yeah, one of these days I'll make a video to show you how I make this. Now we probably don't need quite that much speed. Now here's the trick. How are we going to catch it when it comes off? I guess we'll try and catch it in our hand or hunt for it on the floor. One or the other. There we go. Got to be lucky sometimes. There's the little halo. I'll flatten that knob off, and we'll glue that on a little angle there. Yeah, maybe that would be the best side for the face. So the turning part's done. Yeah, we've just got to cut the front off there, glue the halo on, and then after that I take a line right up through the center, and I'll drill a hole down through the top, just big enough for a piece of string or a loop of string with a knot tied in it, and I'll size the hole so it'll just the knot will just push down in there, and then I put a little glue in there and push the knot down inside, let the glue dry, and we'll have a loop to hang it with. I think the rest of it is pretty self-explanatory. Just sand that off and cut the front off. Then after, to finish it, I'll put double boil linseed oil on it, soak it in, and 24 hours later we'll put a second coat with some fine steel wool. And if I'm happy with it, then I'll probably buff it with the Bill buffing system, you know, the 3 wheels. And we'll have a beautiful little angel. Here's one that is finished, and you can see the loop on it. Yeah, this one's just a little bit different shape there. You just used your imagination, eh? They can all be different. And I've made them all kinds of sizes too. I'm not sure which is the best way to hold this, but you can see how they would hang like that. Well, thank you for watching. Good luck making your Christmas angel. Bye now.